Hello and welcome to Shubhra Ranjan IAS. I am Aman Soni and I'll be discussing with you the economy portion of OPSC exam 2020. Alright, let's start the discussion. Alright, first question. First question is Sagarmala project. Sagarmala project is under which Ministry of Government of India? Look, Sagarmala project, it was brought in the year 2005. Sorry, 2015, my mistake. It was brought in the year 2015 for port-led development of India. And here we want to exploit or use our 7,500 kilometers long coastline. The project Sagarmala, it is based on 4 pillars, I would say. First is port modernization. So what is port modernization? In port modernization, we'll be focusing on setting up new ports, new greenfield ports. At the same time, we'll be also focusing on increasing the capacity of each port. All right, how many ships a port can handle, how much cargo a port can handle. We'll be focusing on that in terms of port modernization. Second is port-led industrialization. I would write here. Second is port-led industrialization. So in port-led industrialization, we'll be focusing on setting up of coastal economic zones and industrial clusters. All right. Third is port connectivity. Third is port connectivity enhancement. Port connectivity enhancement. If we have to reduce the turnaround time of our ships, then we need to increase the connectivity of ports through multiple ways. A port should be connected to the hinterland not only through roads, it should be connected through railways, through coastal shipways, and through inland waterways also. So we need to focus on multimodal connectivity, hence port connectivity enhancement. And the last is coastal community development. Coastal community development, that is the local population of the whole area, it should be given skills so that these people, they become employable in these coastal economic zones and in these industrial corridors, in these industrial clusters. All right, so that is the main focus of Sagarmala. And Sagarmala, it has been brought by Ministry of Ports, Shipping and Waterways. All right, that's a discussion of question number 1. Let's continue with the further questions. Yeah. Now we move to question number 58. So question number 58 is, for each country, global hunger index values are determined by which of the following indicators? Look, global hunger index, GHI, as it is named as it is used most of the times, GHI, it actually tracks the performance of countries in terms of nutrition and hunger. That how countries are performing in terms of nutrition and hunger. This report, Global Hunger Index, it has been brought since 2006 by Concern Worldwide and World Hunger Health. In the year 2020, our rank was 94. In the year 2021, our rank has downgraded to 101 out of 116 countries. Rather, even Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan, these countries were above India in case of global hunger index. Sri Lanka has always been ahead of India in terms of human development indices, but here even Nepal, Bangladesh and Pakistan, they beat us. Surprisingly, government totally criticized the report. It said the methods which were used by the organization to come on to this ranking, those methods are not right. Hence, we are not concerned about this. All right. Now, this global hunger index, it uses all these four indicators to arrive at the index. So, what is undernourishment? Undernourishment is number of kids who are number of undernourishment. It basically tells about share of people with insufficient calorie intake, not about kids. It was total population which is having insufficient calorie intake. Child mortality is number of kids who are dying, number of kids below the age of 5 who are dying. Child stunting is share of number of kids below the age of 5 who were having low height for age. And child wasting, it actually tells us about low weight for height. All right, child stunting is low height for age. You would have seen in your class, like when you were kids, you would have seen that there would be kids in your school who will be like of a decent age, but their height will be less. That is called child stunting. Child wasting is when the height is good enough, but they're very thin. All right, that is called child wasting. So global hunger index, it focuses on all these four parameters. Hence answer is D, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if side by side I'll be keep on telling whether the question was easy or difficult. If I talk about question about Sagarmala, that question was easy. If I talk about this question, global hunger index, this question was also easy. All right. Now let's move to next question. Now, next question is the reserve held by commercial banks over and above the statutory minimum with the RBI is called what? Look, generally the commercial banks, they have to hold capital requirements above the statutory requirements, like above the CRR, above the SLR. They still have to maintain some capital requirements. All right, those capital requirements, they are called excess reserves. All right, this question I would say difficult, at the same time I would say it to be easy. Difficult because most of the people, they do not know about what is excess reserve. But if you go by common sense, then it says reserve held by commercial banks over and above the statutory minimum with the RBI are called, I would go for, say, excess reserves. All right. My question or my verdict on this will be it is a sort of moderate difficulty question, moderate difficulty level question. Next question, question number 60th. Which of the following promoted the concept of self-help groups for financing the poor? Look, what is a self-help group? Self-help group is an informal association of people. It is an informal association of people who come together to improve their income, to improve their standard of living by bringing the concept of co-lending, at the same time registering their group and getting finance from a bank. All right, that is how self-help groups function. Now, the concept of self-help group came in India through Seva. Self-Employed Women's Association 1970. It actually brought the concept of self-help group in India. But if I talk about an organization which has had a huge role to play in the setting up of self-help groups, then that organization is NABARD. Because NABARD in the year 1992, it brought a program called Self-Help Group Bank Linkage Program. All right. So NABARD through Self-Help Group Bank Linkage Program, it encouraged the setting up of self-help groups in India. Hence, answer to this question is C. I would say this question to be very, very easy because this is given even in NCRTs. NCRT 11th class. Okay. All right, let's continue. Question number 61st. Which of the following is not a financial inclusion scheme? Look, if I talk about financial inclusion, then financial inclusion, it is based on 4 pillars. First is savings, second is credit, third is insurance, and fourth is investment. All right, these are the 4 pillars of financial inclusion. Now let's relate the schemes with the financial inclusion. First is Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. Look, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, it is a financial inclusion scheme because it encourages savings. Suraksha Bandhan Yojana, it is also a financial inclusion scheme because it also encourages savings, because under Suraksha Bandhan Yojana, you see what? Don't you think it matches or the sound is similar to Raksha Bandhan? So basically in Suraksha Bandhan scheme, we can go for a fixed deposit with nationalized banks in India, and that fixed deposit would give us 8% rate of interest, and we can give this fixed deposit as a gift pack to our friends, to our relatives. All right. So Suraksha Bandhan Yojana, it also encourages savings. Atal Pension Yojana, yes, it is also a financial inclusion scheme because it encourages savings, it encourages, say, investment. But if I talk about Hridaya, it was brought for the augmentation of heritage cities. It was brought for the improvement economic growth, urban planning. All right. Hridaya scheme, it focused on urban planning and economic growth of heritage cities. All right. So basically it is Heritage City Development and Augmentation Yojana. All right. Heritage City Development and Augmentation Yojana. Examples of like cities covered under Hridaya are, say, Ajmer, Amritsar, Gaya, Varanasi. So Hridaya scheme was brought for the urban improvement of these cities. Hence, Hridaya is not a financial inclusion scheme. All right, answer is D. Again, I would say this question to be easy because if you have little bit knowledge about the schemes and what financial inclusion is, you will be able to get the answer. All right, so answer is D. Again a very straightforward question. Question is, Shishu, Kishore and Tarun are the schemes of. Look, government brought Mudra scheme. Basically, government brought Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. That was Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. Basically, wanted to cover those households which were non-corporate, non-farm, and we wanted to provide them collateral-free credit. That is the main word over here. Collateral-free credit. Collateral-free credit up to 10 lakhs. All right. So that's the main objective of Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, to provide collateral-free credit up to 10 lakh rupees to non-corporate and non-farm households. Now, to provide that collateral, government set up Mudra organization, which is micro units development, and it is a refinance agency, not reference agency, refinance agency. Basically, Mudra would give loan to banks, microfinance institutions, and NBFCs, who would then give loan to ultimate beneficiaries. Now, the loan which is given to ultimate beneficiary, it is of three types: Shishu, Kishore, and Tarun. Shishu is loan up to 50,000 rupees. Kishore is from 50,000 rupees to 5 lakh rupees, and Tarun loan is between 5 lakh to 10 lakh. Alright, so that is what the scheme is. Alright, Shishu, Kishore, Tarun. Basically, there are three types of loans which are given under Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. I hope you have understood. Answer is Micro Units Development and Refinance Agency. Answer is B. Alright. Next question. Which of the following indicators is not used to calculate Human Development Index? Alright. Which of the following indicators is not used to calculate Human Development Index? Look, Human Development Index, it's better I write over here. Human Development Index, this index is brought by UNDP every year. And Human Development Index, it basically focuses on three dimensions. First dimension is health. Second dimension is education. And third dimension is standard of living. Take. Now, how do we measure health? Health is measured using health index, which we get using life expectancy index, or which we get using life expectancy at birth. That is how many years a person would, how many years a person is expected to live when he takes birth. Education, we do it through education index, for which we have two parameters, which is mean years of schooling index and expected years of schooling index. Mean years of schooling means how many years an adult of 25 years has spent in school. Expected years of schooling is how many years a kid of 8 years is expected to put in school. Alright, education is mean years of schooling, expected years of schooling, and standard of living, we find it or we calculate it using per capita income. Alright. So now we have to find out which of them is not used to calculate Human Development Index. Education is there. Yes, education is there. Per capita income is there. Yes, per capita income is there. Life expectancy is there. Yes, life expectancy is there. What is not there is social inequality. Alright. Social inequality is not there. I would better use a red pen. So social inequality, it is not part. Alright. Social inequality is not part of, I doubt if you are able to see this. I would repeat, Human Development Index brought by UNDP focuses on three parameters: health, education, standard of living. For health, we have health index, life expectancy index, education index using mean years of schooling and expected years of schooling. Mean years of schooling, how many years an adult of 25 years has spent in school. Expected years of schooling, how many years a kid of 8 years is expected to put in school. Standard of living measured using per capita income. So which is not there in Human Development Index? It is social inequality. Answer is D. Question was easy. All right, let's continue. Yeah. So which of the following 64th question? Which of the following committees recommended a poverty line based on nutritional requirement exclusively? Look, to calculate, how do we calculate poverty in India? In India's case, poverty is calculated by expert committees which are set up by a planning commission from time to time. Like you would have heard about these names. Lakadawala committee set up in 1993. Then the Ulkar committee set up in 2006. Rangarajan committee set up in 2014. Alag committee set up in 1979. Alright. So it was Alag committee which brought the concept of caloric requirement, minimum caloric requirement. Alright. Alag committee brought the concept of average calorie requirement of, say, calorie requirement for people in urban areas and rural areas, and hence we got separate poverty line basket for people in urban areas and people in rural areas. For urban areas, calorie requirement was considered to be 2100 calories per day, and for rural it was 2400 calories per day. Alright. So the concept of nutritional requirement, that how much of nutrition is required, that was first recommended by Alag committee. If someone had gone to the concept of poverty line, the recommendations of all poverty lines in India, recommendations of all expert committees on poverty line in India, then that person, that student would be able to answer this question. I would say this question was of moderate level difficulty. All right. Next question. Yes. The first Sustainable Development Goal, SDG, the first SDG number 1, it aims to eradicate extreme poverty. How does UN currently measure extreme poverty? Look, when we initially brought Sustainable Development Goals, that time extreme poverty, it was measured using people, it's not, people who were earning, people who were living on less than $1.25 per day. All right, people who were living on less than $1.25 per day, they were considered to be in extreme poverty. But in the year 2015, this $1.25 was brought to less than $1.9. So do we have anything over here? It's probably a misprint. It should be, there's nothing over here. People who are unemployed and unable to access welfare benefits, no. People who live on less than $5, no. People who claim to be living in poverty, no. I would think it is probably a mistake. It should be here $1.25 per day. I would attempt this part. I would attempt D over here because I would take it to be a spelling mistake. All right. But anyways, for your knowledge, you can say that extreme poverty, people who led life below $1.25, later on it was increased to less than $1.9 per day. Question was of moderate difficulty level because we should know the Sustainable Development Goals. We should know how do we measure poverty in the world. All right. Which is the highest allocation in the ministry which is the highest allocation ministry in budget in 21-22? The answer is Ministry of Defense, which got an allocation of around 4.5 lakh crore rupees. Yes, it got an allocation of around 4.5 lakh crore rupees. So you would think 4.5 lakh crore, huge amount. Probably we are giving for like defense modernization, but a lot of this 4.5 lakh crore rupees, it goes in salaries. and pensions of defense employees. So lot of defense expenditure is non-development expenditure. All right. But anyways, this question was of high difficulty level because most of us would be attempting Ministry of Railways. All right. But the answer is Ministry of Defense. All right. Now, next question. Central government has unveiled a new series of CPI IW with base year what? Look, earlier base year for CPI IW was 2001. All right. The previous base year for CPI IW was 2001, but in the year the new base year, it has been made as 2016. All right. And this is brought by Ministry of Labor and Employment. Ministry of Labor and Employment, and it brings CPI IW, and in Ministry of Labor and Employment, this is compiled by Labor Bureau. CPI IW is compiled by Labor Bureau. What's the use of CPI IW? Actually, CPI IW, it is used to calculate dearness allowance for central government as well as state government employees. Hence, we need to regularly update the base year, the basket of CPI IW. Hence, the new base year for CPI IW is 2016. The previous one was 2001. I would say this question to be easy because sort of current affairs question. All right, sort of current affairs question. Hence, people would be knowing it, hence students would be knowing it. Then, next question, 68th question. The contribution of primary sector. The primary sector, it consists of what? It consists of agriculture, forestry, fishing, mining, quarrying. All right, these are the various activities under primary sector. It says the contribution of primary sector to GDP in India is increasing over the years, remaining the same, decreasing over the years, and at times increasing and at times decreasing over the years. Now you should understand a lot of things. Primary sector's main contribution, it comes from agriculture. Agriculture depends upon monsoon. Monsoon is variable. So hence, as monsoon is variable, the contribution of agriculture would also be variable. Hence, the contribution of primary sector would also be variable. In the year 2014 and the year 2015, there were years of drought. So in those years, the contribution of primary sector reduced. Then in the year 2016, the contribution of primary sector increased. All right. Then in 17 it also increased. In 2018 it reduced. In 19 it increased, and in the year 2020 it increased drastically. On an average, we have been seeing like the contribution of primary sector is anything around 16% to GDP, but in the year 2020, the contribution of primary sector to GDP became 18%. It's not that agriculture did huge. It's not that agriculture did very well in the year 2020, but the point is in the year 2020, because of COVID, because of lockdowns, other sectors like industries, like services, they did not do well. Hence, relatively, the share of primary sector increased in the year 2020. And obviously, in the year 2021, the contribution of primary sector again reduced because the contribution of industries and services sector increased. So whenever there is a statement like this, whether it is primary or secondary or tertiary, it's always variable. All right. Hence the answer is at times increasing, at times decreasing over the years. Answer is D. The question was easy. All right. Next question. 69th question. Robin Hood effect. Robin Hood effect is related to what? You see this. We may not be knowing what is Robin Hood effect. But what we know is, we know what Robin Hood did. Robin Hood, he would be robbing the rich, giving that money to the poor. What is that? Don't you think similar type of thing is being done by the government? Not robbing the rich, but basically it is collecting taxes from the rich, using that money to provide subsidies and services to the poor. So don't you think Robin Hood effect, it basically talks about income redistribution. All right. So answer of 69th question is C. It focuses on income redistribution. Question was very easy. Next question is, out of 4 concepts of money supply used in India, M1, M2, M3, M4, the post office savings are included in. Look, if I talk about M2, M2 is M1 plus post office savings. All right, that is M2. If I talk about M4, it is M3 plus post office savings. And what is M3? M3, it is basically M1 plus time deposits with banks. All right. M2 is M1 plus post office, M4 is M3 plus post office savings. So we need to find out that out of 4 concepts of money supply, which is used or which gets post office savings, answer is M2. Answer is M2 and M4. All right. Last question from economy. The Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority, IRDA, is which type of body? Basically, IRDAI, it was set up in the year 1999 through IRDAI Act. All right, IRDA was set up through IRDAI Act in 1999 to regulate the functioning of insurance companies. Look, we have RBI, which regulates the banks. We have SEBI regulating stock market. So we wanted something which could regulate the functioning of insurance companies. Hence, we got IRDA to regulate the functioning of insurance companies. It came through an act in 1999. As it came through an act, it is a statutory body. All right. So answer of 71st is B. Again, an easy question, because you may not be knowing IRDAI Act, but you know one thing: IRDA was brought to regulate, SEBI was brought to regulate, SEBI a statutory body, RBI brought to regulate, RBI statutory body. All right. So through common sense, we can say that it is a easy question. Now we have discussed all the questions. You would be thinking, no question from agriculture, no question from budget, nothing from interest rates, nothing from taxation. All questions were sort of from human development, human capital, human development, financial inclusion, CPI, primary sector. Basically, basic type of questions were asked in the OPSC exams. So if the same trend continues, then if you're thorough with your basics, little bit of here and there knowledge through newspapers, through NCERTs, I don't think you're going to have any difficulty in attempting economy portions of OPSC exam. That's it from my side. We'll meet you soon. Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.